Okay, so Bitcoin barely made a new all-time high and we got the flush that we were expecting. Are we about to move much higher from here, or do we need to be a little bit more patient before Bitcoin can really break out of this range? The truth is there's only a couple more months left to this bull market cycle in my opinion, and so we need to see the move sooner rather than later. In today's video we'll be discussing exactly this, going over the recent Bitcoin price action and what I expect to be next. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So as per yesterday's video, you can see that we got the flush that we expected. I talked about it over and over again. We wanted to get confirmation above that previous all-time high, and the confirmation we were looking for was daily closes above that level. You can see on this chart here that previous all-time high was actually right around 124.6k, and despite wicking above, you can see that we ended up closing right below, which contributed to a little bit of a pullback. Now let's not get carried away. It wasn't that big of a pullback, literally just 3% downwards. Now, is it time for Bitcoin to move much higher? The reality is, usually when we get such an aggressive red candle down and it erases 3 days worth of green up candles for Bitcoin, we tend to see a little bit of further downside. Now, if this candle starts closing above this level, right around 123.4k, I would be expecting Bitcoin to actually move higher from here. However, in the short term here, if we start to chop around these current levels and the 4-hour close starts rolling over, I would be expecting us to tap into this level for a potential longing opportunity for Bitcoin, and perhaps this will be the break required for Bitcoin to move higher into its last leg of this bull market cycle. As I said, we were expecting this kind of correction because of the daily price action, and this is why it's very important that you pay attention to daily candle closes. The thing to always consider when it comes to charting is the more that you zoom out, the more accurate it tends to be. And so on the daily time frame, because we kept on getting rejected, this was more than expected. Now, as I said, if Bitcoin starts going up here and we end up closing back above this previous candle, which set that new all-time high, it's highly likely that we go ahead and move higher, and that was the correction. My base case though, if I had to make an assumption here, is that we will likely revisit lower levels as more and more people try to long this correction for the breakout of new all-time highs. Let's see how it plays out. It will also be a matter of liquidity, because you can see that we grabbed some liquidity to the upside over the past couple hours, and we also have quite a lot of liquidity right around $120,000, give or take a few $100s. And if we really zoom out here, something that's interesting is that on the 30-day time frame, there is still more cumulative long liquidation leverage in the market. Now, it doesn't mean that we necessarily have to just dump and grab all of this liquidity, but what it does mean is that overall on the 30-day time frame, more and more longs have piled in compared to shorts. But I will not ignore the fact that now we started to shift a little bit here. Remember how there were way more longs, which added to our analysis that we would be getting a little bit of a pullback? Well, on the 7-day time frame, it is getting close to even. And on the 1-day time frame here, you can see that it is indeed even. And so what does this mean? Well, Bitcoin is likely to grab some liquidity from both sides. We cannot ignore the fact that the momentum is indeed up. I saw some comments in my previous video talking about spot holdings. What should you do? In my opinion, you can simply just sit on your hands, because I don't believe that this was the top of this bull market cycle. We want to see the reaction we get here. Right now, we're at 123K. As I said, if we start to reclaim the previous daily candle here, which you can see would put us all the way around 123.4K, give or take a few $100s, and we reclaim that level, then all-time highs are more than likely, and we would go ahead and liquidate a lot of those current shorts. So just be patient. Wait for it to play out, especially if you're trading this market. Now, one thing is for sure in terms of trading, I have been vocally bullish on Bitcoin dominance, and yesterday's price action tells you exactly why. Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin leads the way. We saw some alts slowly start to catch up. Boom, then we get a 3 to 4% dump, which is pretty insignificant if you look at the bigger picture. And of course, Bitcoin dominance explodes. You can see that my Bitcoin dominance trade is in some pretty solid profits, just over $9,000 in profit. And I'm hoping to see this play out much higher. And we would likely get 20K, maybe 30K profit on this trade. I'll make sure to keep you updated, but I have been vocally bullish on Bitcoin dominance, regardless of the direction of Bitcoin. What we really want to see here is indeed Bitcoin leading the way. So if we do get the breakout that we're looking for, you want Bitcoin to really outperform the rest of the market to give a chance for altcoins to catch up. Something that's relatively interesting that I actually spoke about with my friend recently is the fact that look, a lot of people are expecting Q4 to be the top. We also have the other side of the equation of people saying that the super cycle is well and truly intact and we will never go down. It will be up forever. I don't believe the latter. However, we have to consider the fact that maybe we extend into the first couple weeks of January. That also may be a possibility. The reason I say this is because if we take a look at the Ethereum chart and we zoom out, look, ETH topped out last cycle near the end of the year in Q4 in November actually. But if we go to the previous cycle, what do you notice? This top over here was actually in the first couple weeks of January. And so in my opinion, it is very important for you to be open to this in case this happens. Now, if we just start exploding to the upside here, then at that point, that would invalidate us going into January. But I do think that the top is well and truly in the next few months. So let's see how this plays out. If Bitcoin just starts ripping from here, then maybe the top is sooner than most people are willing to admit. I don't think that this will go well into 2026, but I am very clearly bullish on the weekly timeframes. Let's see what we get here. Will Bitcoin go ahead and retest $120,000? That value area high from this entire range. And if we start to lose that level, then we can start looking for longs right around the point of control just below $118,000. It should be a very, very interesting next few days. Let's see how it plays out, especially with FOMC tonight at 10 p.m. Well, the FOMC minutes, that is. So let's see what Powell has to say. Will he come across as dovish? Will he come across as hawkish? There's a lot of anticipation going into this major event. I also wanted to talk about this, which was a pretty interesting perspective, and I do tend to agree with it. Retail is coming, guys. Just wait. Everyone's talking about retail so we can dump our altcoin bags on them. The reality is, yeah, retail, functioning adults with mortgages and actual jobs, coming to buy our bags and give us our long-awaited exit liquidity. The same guys that bought the top in 2021 and got shafted when alts went down 90% the following year. The same guys that lost money from Luna, FTX, 3AC, Celsius, Voyager, and any number of the countless scams and rugs we've had this cycle and the last cycle. And we know all about those scams and rugs because we were actually shorting a lot of these tokens on the channel. This includes Hawk, Trump, Melania, Jailstool, Carr, Libra, and of course Kanye's most recent token. I bet they can't wait to get back into crypto. Not so easy to just give it another shot after going completely bust. Bitcoin is at $124,000 and just put in a new all-time high, yet search analytics for crypto and Bitcoin are at bear market lows. And this is actually true. I want to show you again the social risk. Retail is nowhere to be found. This is really an institutional game, which is why I've continued to say that the best way to make profits in this market is by actively trading it. Look for opportunities and enter trades, exit those trades, cash in those profits. For example, that Bitcoin dominance long that I've been talking about time and time again. Remember, if you want to trade the market with me and you want to know exactly how I'm navigating in this market, you do have that first link in the description down below. If you click this link, it'll bring you to Telegram. You DM me the word premium and I would be happy to onboard you into my free premium group. The only requirement is that you sign up with one of my affiliate exchange links and you start trading on there as you normally would. Whether that's Bluffin or Weeks, it's completely up to you. Now, you can clearly see that retail is just not here. And so I do think that they will likely come back, but we do need higher Bitcoin prices for that to actually materialize. Maybe 130, maybe 140. Ultimately, I would not be expecting this social risk metric to explode to the upside and go to 1. However, the moment we start breaking these highs from this cycle above 0.045, that would be an ideal situation for altcoins to finally get a little bit more upside. And while Bitcoin did get this minor correction, the interesting thing to consider here is that the Bitcoin spot ETF inflows continue at around 900 million yesterday. Same thing for Ethereum, around 400 million. And so this tells us this was more than likely just a leverage flush and Bitcoin will likely move much higher. If we get the opportunity at these levels, I will personally be looking for longs in this market. Now, I know I had a lot of you reach out to me and say that my analysis on this all-time high break and then falling back within the range inspired you to go short. And I'm very happy that you made some profits doing so, but I don't think that we should be looking to go aggressively short at this point in time. It's important to manage your risk. And that sums up today's quick video. Right now, there's liquidity piling up on both sides. There are still more longs in the market, and so we may actually go ahead and move lower. And if we do, at that point of control, at the value area high, I would actually be looking to execute a long. Reminder, if you want to know exactly when I am going long or how I am trading this market, you do have that first link in my description down below. But the point is, I think that Bitcoin will be moving higher, despite the fact that we were anticipating a little bit of a correction in the short term due to those all-time high wicks. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.